Good afternoon. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Welcome. President Bola Tinubu will on Thursday join other heads of state and governments in Guinea-Bissau, to celebrate the country's 50th Independence Anniversary and Armed Forces Day. President Tinubu will arrive in Bissau on Thursday for the ceremony, which will be hosted by the President, Umaru Siseko Mbalo. Guinea-Bissau marked its 50th Independence Anniversary on September 24th, 2023, but the government had scheduled all celebrations for November 16th, 2023. The President is expected to return to Nigeria on Thursday. To labor matters now, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the ongoing strike by organized labor unions will, I beg your pardon, a meeting of the government and labor over the ongoing strike is currently underway at the office of the NSA. The Minister of Labor, Simon Bako Lalong, Minister of State, Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha, and the NSA, Nuhu Ribado, are in attendance. Labor leaders led by the TUC President, Comrade Festus Osifo, NLC Secretary General Emmanuel Ugwaja, and other labor leaders are also attending.
So we had some robust conversations where a lot of assurances were given, lots of, in furtherance to the release that was done this morning by the NSA, that some people have been apprehended and that they will coordinate the investigation. So we also told him our part of the story and all that. But at the end of the day, they made several appeals to us and several promises on what they are going to do and the ones that they have done currently. So we said, let's go back, we'll reappraise all the conversations that we have had and we'll communicate accordingly. So every discussion we have had here, if you could see us, how many of us are here now, we need to take it back, we look at it, we examine it, and we take a decision.
Report just reaching me says the meeting has just ended. Still on labor matters, the Senate urged organized labor to, in national interest and respect for the rule of law, call off the ongoing national strike. It was resolved that the leadership of the Senate will hold an emergency meeting with labor leaders towards resolving the issues. In a unanimous motion by the Senate, raised by the Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, the lawmakers observed that the strike, if allowed to continue, could lead to the collapse of the economy. Details of that report will come subsequently. And the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the ongoing strike by organized labor unions is ill-timed, considering federal government's desire and efforts to engage the leadership of the unions. The minister addressed the media shortly after declaring open the 19th All-Nigerian Editors Conference on behalf of the President Bola Tinubu in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State Capital. Details of this report will also come subsequently. We are not done with labor matters, as following the ongoing indefinite nationwide industrial action by the Nigerian Labour Congress and trade unions in the country, the former national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, has called on labour unions to focus on advancing workers' rights and not be involved in partisan politics. He made the appeal while speaking to State House correspondents after an audience with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the presidential villa.
And labor in my aspirations. I will expect that even as we speak now, that the issues that we appeal to me will be the fact that as we speak, we have states that are not paying 30,000. And those states are not being mobilized to go on strike. The federal government had granted 35,000 naira increase, right? And those discussions were supposed to be for and on behalf of not only the federal government, but on behalf of all workers in Nigeria, including those employed by local governments and state governments. And the additional revenue accruing from the withdrawal of subsidy trickles out to the states and to the local government. Now, I would wish that somebody at the NSC would recognize that the hunger in the stomach of federal employees is not any worse than the hunger in the stomach of those state employees, not those local government employees. If these are the issues on the table, even as a senator, I will publicly support any action against any government that think that we should lament away our hunger and why the people do what they do. Unfortunately, this strike is not about those issues. And I think we have to be careful not to mix our political opinion with our responsibilities, because the issues confronting workers are so many that they should become the priority. I want Labour to, we cannot be apolitical, because politics is about the people. And I have argued when I was in NLC that nobody has a right to be partisan, much more than those who turn the wheel of our industrial progress.
Senator Oshiomhole urged the unions to prioritize holding states and local governments accountable over issues of unpaid salaries and the implementation of the approved minimum wage, which some states are yet to implement. It was a daunting experience for National Assembly staff, visitors and members of the media who arrived at the National Assembly gate, as usual, to carry out their duties for the day. No work. Today, go back home was the order from the striking union. Ignatius Nkwo, who was also caught up in the web of the industrial conflict, tells us more.
Well, the situation here in front of the main entrance to the National Assembly was quite perplexing. Well, if you ask me, it's not as if people were not aware of the ongoing industrial action by Labour and TUC. But I'll tell you, usually when things like this happen, you come here, you find out sometimes they only allow certain staff who are really quite important to the day's proceedings in both chambers of the National Assembly to enter. But today, as early as 8:30 this morning, we are all here and we discovered that there was already traffic here and the gate we are all locked. And then some of us will try to go to through the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. There's another gate that leads into the National Assembly there. Some of us went to the extent of going to see if we can access that place. But that same place, that place was also locked. So the issue that some people who came very, very early had access and they went in. But the major issue is that those who are going to, oversee the management of the chamber, that's the proceedings of the plenary, that's National Assembly staff. Most of them, if you ask me, I'll say 80% of them who were outside here. Major issues are that some people who came from outside Abuja for plenary, for public to observe the plenary, or for public hearing, one thing or the other, by invitation of the National Assembly, some of those people were locked out. And then their fate is hanging in the balance.
We came for budget defense, for Senate Committee on Finance. We don't even know anything until we got here. We came as far from Ilorin. So when we got here, we met the door, the gate lock.
We expect that this will continue to happen till the Labour and TUC cut off the strike.
Let me talk my mind. Really affected our work because I can see that some clerks are going inside, some honorable members are going inside. Why are we outside? And they are keeping us. So why are we outside?
The NLC trying to make workers to understand that they have their rights.
The security house there turned to a waiting room where most staff who came this early morning, as early as 7, 8, because some staff who live far away from Abuja, they come very early. Some of them, when they came this morning, discovered that they couldn't get entrance. In fact, they've turned that place into a sleeping room. So we expect that this industrial action will be called off as soon as possible so that normal business here at the National Assembly will continue. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Certainly, Ignatius, thank you very much for the update. And still staying with the legislature, Senate has passed the Electricity Act Amendment Bill towards addressing the concerns of host communities. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that President Bola Tinubu assented to the bill on the 9th of June 2023, empowering states, individuals and companies to generate and distribute electricity.
The bill, which is for concurrence, amends Section 95 of the Act to enable the setting aside of 5% of actual annual operating expenditure of the preceding financial year by the various power generating companies in Nigeria for the purpose of development of host communities.
Shall be received, managed and administered by a reputable trustee to be jointly appointed by the GENCOs and representative of the host communities upon agreement by the GENCOs and the host communities on one part and the trustees on the other part.
The communities would have a say in the benefit that will be accrued thereto to these communities in terms of infrastructure and other facilities.
Plenary featured first reading of 5 bills, including bill to establish Nigerian National Internship and Unemployment Benefit Scheme. In another development, members of the Senate Committee on Customs have interacted with the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service on issues relating to revenue generation, standard operating procedure, and the insurance for officials who lost their lives in the line of duty.
Your second quarter result was so impressive that you surpassed the set target.
Adding more tariff or duties on those items, yes, we allow them to come in, but for those who want to go and eat that kind of rice against the one that we produce here, let them pay more tax to the government.
The security of your officers, many of them have died. What is the insurance policy for these people?
We are also burdened by the requirements to ensure that we do not compromise our control and security. Since I took over in the last 4 months, our revenue has grown from an average of 210 billion per month to 340. In terms of security, our landmark seizures speak for themselves.
The lawmakers also asked the customs bus to submit the revenue target for 2024 for assessment. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
We are still at the National Assembly as the leadership says it stands ready to partner with the executive arm of government, using every legislative instrument to create jobs for Nigeria's teeming youth, as well as provide affordable healthcare and security for all Nigerians. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, stated this as they officially unveiled an 8-point legislative agenda for the 10th House, just before Tuesday's plenary. National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikpen completes the report.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House of Representatives provide focal areas for legislation and intervention in tandem with the renewed hope agenda of the federal government.
So the challenge facing the 10th National Assembly, both chambers today, is that we must perform better than all the past National Assemblies put together. All committees are requested to integrate the agenda to their respective work plans. Members should also ensure that legislative proposals, including bills, motions, etc., are in line with the provision of this agenda.
And expectations are high. As partners, therefore, we are in a unique position to jointly serve the people better.
Plenary begins with a new member, Abubakar Yahya Kusada, representing Kankia Ingawa Kusada Federal Constituency from Katsina State, taking his oath of office. Thereafter, lawmakers demand investigations into the cancellation of visas granted 264 Nigerians on arrival in Saudi Arabia, as well as the murder of a Nigerian medical student in the Philippines.
The House urged the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to, as a matter of urgency, take such diplomatic steps as may be necessary to protect the image of the nation. We should mandate the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Human Rights and Diaspora to follow up this investigation of the untimely death of Mr. Chibrike Emmanuel in questionable circumstances in the Philippines.
The House passed the bill for an act to establish the Institute of Economists of Nigeria, while the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Item Bende, Abia State, scaled second reading.
If we do not provide means to produce professionals in this sector, God forbid, one day we will also be importing health professionals from other countries.
Lawmakers also sponsored infrastructure motions that were adopted by the House for Legislative Action.
Also urge the Ministry of Water Resources to include the construction and dredging of water channels to connect Magaga Sabangida Amada Water and the Fadadam Federal Constituency of Kano State in the 2024 budget estimate.
From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And it's nationwide on the network service. Let's take some messages now. We will be back shortly. Thanks for rejoining us. Moving on now, job creation as an integral component designed to propel the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu has been given priority with a template for the National Directorate of Employment, NTA, as a leading agency in this drive. Kelvin Ebonuaye reports that the agency held a stakeholders forum in Abuja to analyze the template.
The quest to lift 50 million Nigerians out of poverty is one taken seriously by the federal government through multi-intervention approach. And the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, even though it already has some ongoing skills development and entrepreneurship schemes, this roadmap, designed and examined here, is to expand its scope of programs and align them with the core objectives of the Renew Hope agenda of the President Bola Tinubu's administration. But the Minister of State, Labour and Employment wants greater visibility on the part of the agency.
Even saying, okay, we are going to empower digital economy in order to reflect the current reality and affect our people positively. So if you sit down there and be saying in the beginning, when I came here, this is how they used to do it. When the other DG, this is how it was. No. What we have to do now, roadmap that will attract positive change for all the people who are in the streets. We do not want our children to still be roaming down the street. When we have equipment, when we have instruments to train them.
The vocational, entrepreneurial, agricultural skills acquisition programs of the NDE, as well as activities in the public works sectors, are all in line with the economic policy thrust of the federal government, which has special focus on employment creation for sustainable growth and development.
To enable the NDE perform optimally, the agency is currently being supported to improve its work and operational environment. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
And the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Usev, says water dams play a pivotal role in promoting agricultural activities which require more synergy from relevant stakeholders to accelerate the actualization of President Tinubu's drive to ensure food sufficiency in the country. The minister gave this indication while inaugurating projects at the Upper Niger River Basin Development Authority, MENA, Niger State, in continuation of his familiarization tour of the River Basin Development Authorities across the country.
During the visit to the Upper Niger River Basin Development Authority, Mina, the Minister Joseph Uteb was conducted around some of the water facilities, including the heavy-duty equipment stand, empowerment center, and Songhai Integrated Farm, where he presented certificate of graduation to some of the trainees. The minister also inaugurated a dam road, agro-tourism facility, 2 concrete reservoirs with 780.7 cubic meter capacity, and that of 1,197.250 liters of water. The reservoirs are positioned to supply water to Rafinyashi irrigation scheme and dam, all of which were also inaugurated by the minister.
It's a mandate given to us with the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation to boost food production. I am calling on state governments to avail irrigable lands to our 12 river basins for irrigation purposes. I'm also calling on state governments to also venture into creation of irrigation facilities. This is the only way that food production will be boosted in Nigeria, and that can also revive the economy of Nigeria.
The minister had earlier paid a courtesy visit to Government House, Mina, where he was received by the State Deputy Governor, Yakubu Garba, and the Emir of Mina, Umar Faruk Bahagu. The minister is expected to have an engagement with management and staff of the authority afterwards. In Mina, Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
Still on food security, the federal government is to implement new policies and programs that will revive and strengthen the more than 3 trillion naira livestock industry. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security said this in Abuja. Musa Aliyu has that.
Climate change has been identified as a major environmental challenge affecting livestock development in Nigeria. The incessant clashes between farmers and livestock breeders is often linked to the effects of the climate change. However, the national chairman of All Progressives Congress (APC), Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, says mitigation and adoption of modern animal breeding is a sure way to address the problem.
Strategies to mitigate farmer-cattle herder conflict include but not limited to creation of awareness of climate change, tree planting campaign, use of improved technology, interreligious dialogue, payment of compensation, establishment of grazing land policy, adoption of ranching policy, early warning mechanism, animal identification, and the traceability system.
Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Ali Sabi Abdullahi, says government has identified the challenges confronting livestock and efforts are underway to address them.
The ministry is promoting livestock programs that have received the good attention of the Federal Executive Council in an effort to bridge the gap between demand and supply of animal products. Some of these programs include 1. National Pasture Development Program, which is focused on promoting homestead and commercial pasture production for sustainable ruminant production and reduce conflict between crop farmers and livestock herders.
It is manifest that the issue of food and nutrition security is very critical and central to the renewed hope agenda of the federal government. Consequently, as a regulatory body in the livestock subsector, NIAS will continue to strive to be very innovative, strategic, and transformational.
The 25th meeting of the Animal Science Association of Nigeria and Nigerian Institute of Animal Science focused on the challenges of climate change on animal agriculture. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
To oil and gas now, the Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, has charged stakeholders in Nigeria's oil and gas industry to adapt, evolve and lead in the ever-changing global energy landscape. Kyari gave this charge while delivering an industry address at the opening ceremony of the ongoing 41 Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists Conference in Lagos. A statement by Olufemi Shoneye, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, says the pivotal role of oil and gas exploration in shaping the future of the oil industry emphasizes the need for dedication, expertise, and pursuit of knowledge in the quest to unlock new frontiers and push technological and economic boundaries within the industry. Reiterating NNPC Limited's commitment, Kiare emphasized the company's dedication to embrace exploration, developing renewables, fostering innovation, adopting emerging technologies, and implementing portfolio management as key drivers of success in the evolving energy landscape. He expressed optimism that the NAPE conference would yield solutions and positively impact the nation's economic landscape. While acknowledging the global shift towards renewable energy, the GCEO pointed out challenges such as predictability and reliability due to geological constraints. He further highlighted the absence of a perfect energy source and advocated a diversified energy portfolio that leverages innovation and technology to harness the strength of different energy sources. The NAPE conference is an annual convergence of geologists and industry professionals engaged in oil and gas exploration and production. This year's edition has as theme repositioning the oil and gas industry for future dynamics and seeks to advance the study and application of geosciences for the benefit of stakeholders. With arable land put at 1,190,000 hectares, Osun State is said to be an agrarian state and can become the food basket of the Southwest. How visible is this dream? Annie Daniels has the details.
Osun State has a landmass of 9,251 kilometers square, and crops like potato, yam, cassava, maize, and several others are all available. I'm here in one of the markets in Osun State. It's called Owode Market. It's sold every 5 days. This is actually the plantain section. Plantain, banana, orange, things here are brought straight from the farm to the market. They're all fresh. Even if they are fresh, they're not affordable, as one would have thought they would be.
This small one, the two, we bought it 3,000, I will tell it 3,500. As to make it cost, say road no good. I know somebody want to make farm again.
It was also observed that the sizes of some crops here are far from what is expected.
This one I carry from the north for Niger State. Yes, that is why you come big. So that one, the small one, not be for in this area the farming it.
We don't apply fertilizer.
They can help them get maybe farming tools or machineries or labors and fertilizers especially that can help boost the produce.
My respondents insist that putting adequate measures in place by concerned authorities is all that is needed to harness the gold mine in agriculture in Osun State. In Osogbo, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And we are not done with Annie as we join her now to give us more on the agricultural untapped gold mine in the state. Annie, is over to you.
Thank you, Hawa. Yes, like you heard from that report, Osun State, the government in the time past had tried to make the state the food basket of the southwestern zone of the country. And to that effect, the past government set aside 1,000 hectares of land to that effect, with another 23 hectares for tomatoes production in Ifon, Orolu, all in this state, for prospective farmers. Well, to speak for them, that is the deputy chairman of AFAN, that's all farmers of all AFAN, yes, Mr. Akinlolu. He's there to bring us up to speed with events with that project. Thank you, sir. Good to have you join us at this time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So tell us about farming in Osun State.
Farming in Osun State is very interesting. We thank God for our amiable governor, Senator Isiaka Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke. He has been doing so much as regards agric in Osun State, and he still promised more and more for us in Osun State. Like for instance, in Osun State for now we don't have a single tractor, and he promised to buy at least each for each local government in his own dispensation.
But so, like I heard that in 2021, some lands were set aside, hectares of lands for that project. Tell us about that project. How has it been so far?
The project is located at Ifon Osun in Orolu local government. The past government, that's 2021, they acquired a land proposing to be planting the tomatoes on it, and since then they've been trying their best. But I know government is continuing, so we believe that this present government, they will do more on that land, at least to equip our youths on that ground.
Yes, of course, I know these days you don't look at people farming with hoe and cutlass. Yes. So are you looking at mechanized farming?
Oh yes, that's one of the obstacles that we've been facing. Majority of us, we are doing this farming on just a quick way of doing it before. But we pray if government can help us in re-mechanized, so that we have a surplus.
I don't know about this issue of loan and everything. I know you told me a few minutes ago before now that you don't have enough resources to drive your dream. Tell us about that, sir.
Sir, thank you, ma. If government really want to erase poverty in our society, small money cannot operate in farm this time around. They said agriculture. It's not agriculture, it's agri-business. It's a real business. If you want to go into real business, you have to do your feasibility study, you have to do your business plan, whether it will be profitable or not. Though there are some circumstances that may delay our aims, but notwithstanding, we have to put on our own efforts, like no access to loan. If at all, if any government, any banks that you go to, they will say around 17-25% interest rate. Farmer cannot afford it, unless if you have a very big or pronounced farmer that been necessary for long. They are the only one that can say that they can avoid it. If government really want to help us and they want to eradicate poverty, they should assist farmers to access loan easily and to pay it back. When you do it and it's okay, to pay it back won't be difficult for the farmers.
Thank you, sir. So I heard from the AFAN Deputy Chairman, Mr. Akiolu. So now go back to Lagos. Now go to Lagos, where Jennifer is waiting to continue with the news.
It's very important to assist farmers. Now back to labor matters. Day 2 of the indefinite strike declared by the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress is having more far-reaching impact on the operations of government institutions in Lagos, with substantial compliance by workers. Joel Popola reports that although we have a lot of compliance, activities are going on hitch-free in areas dominated by the private sector.
Unlike the situation on the first day when the strike by organized labor commenced, compliance level has increased significantly, with only management staff in the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Voice of Nigeria and other NTAs working. Officials of the Radio, Television and Theatre Workers Union, RATAU, also enforced the NLC and TUT directives.
It builds with momentum. So as of yesterday, I can say that there is 60% compliance. But moving forward, especially from today, I know the momentum will keep on building up. So it is our also expectation that whatever the issue are between the union and the federal government, that the federal government should find a way to resolve this issue.
The scenario at the office of the Ministry of Labour and Employment attests to the impact of the strike. Just like the Ministry of Labour, most government-owned agencies are either rendering skeletal services or not operating at all.
The Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board is one of the federal government institutions that has joined the ongoing industrial action declared by organized labor. The entrance is under lock. Since like this, experts say it's going to have serious impact on the economy.
Obalende on the Lagos Island maintained its usual hive of activity as many carried on oblivious of the industrial action by organized labor.
In fact, if not because they mentioned it, I don't know there is strike. I read about it that there's going to be strike midnight, something on Sunday or Monday, but there's no strike anywhere. Nigerians are not on strike anymore. Nigerians know that strike is not doing anything anymore. So let's just get going.
Industrial harmony, experts say, is germane for the nation's economy to thrive, and needless friction between labor and government should be avoided.
So we appeal to the federal government to kindly hearken or listen to these people, call them together, and have a discussion and agree on a term that will actually suit everybody.
Nigerians hope normalcy will be restored as soon as possible for government activities to return to optimal capacity. In Lagos, Joel Ukbola, NTA News.
And on land matters, for the nation to access the immense revenue potential from land, it is important for issues such as poor urban planning, inadequate land information, and cumbersome registration process that discourages investment to be rectified. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, made this known at the 28th Conference of Directors of Land in Federal and State Ministries hosted by Lagos State. Lanre Gbeleyi has more.
The need to find alternative means to generate wealth in the space of dwindling revenue has become imperative, especially when there abound areas that have not been exploited. This was the center of discussion at this year's Conference for Land Administrators. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, charged the land administrators to be detailed in their recommendations. The minister used the occasion to explain the newly initiated National Land Commission.
In terms of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has charged us to establish the National Land Commission. National Land Commission is the agency that will drive the process of Land Use Act. Just like the PENCOM Act that has been established, the Pension Act, we have the PENCOM that usually drives it. We have the Electoral Act, we have the INEC that usually drives it. So the Land Use Act, we have identified that the reason why it couldn't work properly, or there are a lot of complaints, is because there is no an agency that will regulate and implement it.
Other speakers who talked on the importance of generating land revenue, including representative of the Lagos State Governor, emphasized on the need to rechannel generating revenues from land.
So land is a fixed asset and it has a very good potential. Most of the areas of generation of revenue from land resource prior to now, or hitherto, has not been exploited fully. So now we are poised to do that.
Housing projects that the ministry has initiated in a bid to drive standards. Regulations of the real estate sector, mass building of standard and affordable houses, training of over 720 artisans in the build sector, with an expansion plan to train and retrain more artisans.
The conference is the 28th of its kind, involving directors and head of departments and ministries in both the federal and state ministries of housing and land, and it's going to run for 2 days, where issues such as synergy between the public and the private sector, how to generate revenue from land, and the role of estate surveyors and valuers and a host of others will be discussed. In Lagos, Larry Gbeleyi, NTA News.
Thank you, Larry. Crucial issues there. And for more nationwide, we join Susan in our Makurdi Network Center. Hello, Susan.
Thank you for joining us in Makurdi. The ongoing nationwide industrial action by the Nigerian Labour Congress and trade union has witnessed some level of compliance, as most government offices in Makurdi, the Benue state capital, are under lock and key. Taina Uma, who monitored the situation, reports that some civil servants in Makurdi have called for an end to the persistent strikes.
This is the premises of the Benue State Secretariat in Makurdi. This secretariat houses about 12 government ministries and 16 government agencies and parastatals. And as you can see, the premises currently is under lock and key. The offices are closed due to the ongoing NLC strike. Other government ministries located within Makurdi metropolis were also under lock and key as civil servants bear their minds.
Production doesn't take place when there is a strike, and persistence of it brings down the overall GDP of the country in terms of the economic growth.
It's now becoming difficult for even the citizens of the state and the country at large. So we pray that they come together and they settle it so that the citizens themselves can then go about their activities.
I want people to put themselves together and support the present government so that we can move forward.
Leader of the Nigerian Labour Congress monitoring team, Benue State chapter, Umaja Aloysius speaks.
The level of compliance is encouraging, and some have excuses of getting the notice late. But as we speak to you, we have worked on those issues, and we have recorded a very good compliance.
It is the opinion of the masses that the federal government and Labour to sit together and find out a permanent solution to these incessant strikes. In Makurdi, Teena, Uma, NTA News.
The Benue State government says it is poised to reform the judiciary to meet international standards. Governor Hyacinth Alia gave the indication at the inauguration of the reconstructed and furnished Upper Area Court in Otukpo. Simbiat Agbaji reports that the gesture is courtesy of the former Deputy Governor of the state, Benson Abonu.
The judiciary, as one of the arms of government, plays a critical role, especially in the dispensation of justice. It is to ensure that this all-important sector discharge their duties effectively that the Upper Area Court Otukpo is wearing a new look, courtesy former Deputy Governor, Benue State, Benson Abonu. Chief Judge of the state, Justice Maurice Ikpambese, while commending the gesture, appreciated the existing cordial relationship between the executive and the judiciary.
This is the only way the society will benefit from you. I enjoy other brothers from Zone A and B or elsewhere in this state to do the same.
Engineer Benson Abonu expressed gratitude to God for enabling him fulfill the pledge he made to the judiciary on the 21st day of December 2022 while in office.
I am grateful to God for making it possible for me to give back to the society from which I can say I gained tremendously.
Governor Alia, who commissioned the reconstructed and furnished Upper Area Court, also took a tour around the facility and pledged to give more attention to the judiciary in the state.
These are very heavy projects, and for them to have taken them on their own, means so much, not just to me, to the entire state, but that we need to double.
Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now take you to Kaduna, where Jamila is on standby.
Come to Kaduna. The federal government has taken a multifaceted approach towards reducing drug abuse and joblessness amongst the women folk in Kano State. Of recent is the identification and rehabilitation of drug addicts who are now trained and on various skills. Yahanasu Hassan Barrow tells us more.
From joblessness and drug addiction for more than 10 years, Zarifa is reintegrating back into the society, rehabilitated and equipped with the mission of educating the youth on the dangers of drug abuse. She is one out of the more than 50 women rehabilitated at the Reformatory Institute, Kiru, and is now trained on skills like shoemaking and cookery to make them useful members of the society. When I was into drugs, people look at me as someone with no future. But now, things have changed. I can now make shoes and bags. The gesture is courtesy of the National National Center for Women Development aimed at leaving no one behind.
This is the third in a series of rehabilitation and vocational skills training for female drug users, and it will help them so that they will not be idle or lazy, and it keep them off drugs.
The trainees were presented with a certificate, a deep freezer, and a stipend to venture into businesses of their choice. Rehabilitated women and youth like Zarifa, who before now finds it difficult to mingle freely in the society, pledged to reciprocate the gesture. In Kano, Yohannes Hassan, NTA News.
That's it all from Kaduna. Over to Benin.
Thank you, Jamila. Welcome to Benin. Governor Godwin Obaseki has flagged off Operation Stillwater 3 in Ohoroma community, Ikoba Halico government area in Edo State, with the assurance of safety and security of the people during the Yuletide season. Government House correspondent Goodluck Enani, who witnessed the exercise, has details.
The governor believes security is the basis for development in any given society. He is also aware that the state has experienced significant improvements due to the synergy between the state government and the security agencies. He is in Okoroma community to boost the morale of the soldiers, a warning signal to criminal elements to relocate.
We've seen significant improvement in the security of Edo State. This has been made largely possible by the collaboration of the security agencies in Edo. I want to thank the Chief of Army Staff and the military installations and formations in Edo State for the support which they have given our administration.
Commander for the Brigade Nigerian Army, Major General Danlami Ndahi, applauded the governor for the initiative.
The exercise will be conducted in collaboration with other security agencies who will perform their statutory roles. This will enhance the collaboration and cooperation of security agencies in the state.
The Onogie of Obagie, His Royal Highness Endurance Ogbemudia, described the exercise as the governor also conducted a tour round the base. In Benin, Goodluck Enani, NTA News.
Watching. Good evening.